common suggestion with testosterone cream is to apply it extra scrotally to the testicles, right? The main logic behind this is that you're going to get more DHT conversion via what ultimately is more 5-alpha reductase 2 in pubic skin. So if you want more DHT, then applying to the testicles is the better answer. At least that's what we think. Testosterone cream, like the main application site for testosterone cream is the testicles, right? I mean, if you think about going on cream, you're going, okay, I'm going to be rubbing cream on my balls. So like that's like super mainstay. But what if I were to have you just sit back for a second and ponder the question, is rubbing testosterone cream on the testicles always the most effective way to get the outcomes, sexual performance, especially libido, erectile quality, strength, energy that you want from TRT or cream in this case, or are there other better application sites? I've tried everything. I've rubbed cream on the testicles. I've rubbed cream on my shoulders. I've rubbed cream on my biceps. I've rubbed cream on my forearms. I've rubbed cream on my inner thighs. I've rubbed cream on my chest. And my results for what was best for me personally were actually surprising and far removed than the typical suggestion of rubbing cream on the testicle. And in this video, I want to break that down. I want to discuss what the best application site for me is. I want to explain why, like what it does to estradiol specifically and DHT. But in looking at, like, call it the two major locations, the shoulders versus the testicles, we're going to break down the androgen receptor sites in those areas and really what the testosterone does when applied to each area. So even though the most commonly prescribed application method or location to put testosterone cream is the testicles, it might not always be the best idea. All right, look, Cortex Labs is a hormone consulting company and performance optimization company for men. We got a range of different products ranging from nootropics to coaching. Wanted to quickly announce that the source list that a lot of people have been waiting for, a vetted source of anabolics, anabolic agents, hormone hacking agents, ancillaries, basically everything you can think of, is officially launched in here. A lot of you guys have been waiting for that. So you can now buy it at livecortex.com. I'll put the link front and center down in the description of this video. As you see, the source list gives you access to all of the good stuff we talk about, including oral DHT and DHT gel, as well as all the rest of the stuff that you're seeing here. You're going to love the source list. You've got free vetted sources right away. Again, link is down below. We have a nootropic stack that I built that's like Adderall without the side effects. You can get that at livecortex.com. And also you can hire me for coaching on TRT, hormone optimization, erectile dysfunction, libido optimization, host of other things in under minutes at livecortex.com. So just a simple Google search on what area of the body has more androgen receptors. You're going to get a few different things and nothing definitive, honestly. And this is kind of just a blog from hormone replacement therapy, whatever, .com. They go shoulders, the upper and middle chest and the neck have more ARs than your leg muscles or most body parts. Unfortunately, if you were to ask ChatGPT this, or like Google's AI, which I assume is ChatGPT, about shoulders versus testicle androgen receptor quantity, they're going to respond, there isn't much information about the quantity of androgen receptors in the shoulder compared to the testicle. Here's a paper that is titled The Expression of Androgen Receptors in Human Neck and Limb Muscles, the Effects of Training and Self-Administration of Anabolic Androgenic Steroids, in which they conclude that AR content differs greatly between human neck and limb muscles, indicating that, yes, depending on where you apply testosterone cream and therefore how it's going to get absorbed, there are different contents of androgen receptors in different areas of the body. I mean, that pretty clearly implies that. Now let's talk about testicles versus shoulder application versus shoulder application. Okay, look, if you just do a simple Google search of androgen receptors in the testicles, if you understand testicular physiology around sex hormones, you're going to find that yes, there are ARs in the entire sexual reproductive tract, specifically the testicles, but also the male penis, but particularly the Sertoli cells, the protubular cells in the walls of the seminiferous tubules. Androgen receptors are involved in many steps of spermatogenesis, including the maintenance of spermatogonia with spermatogonia numbers, progression through the meiosis, blah, 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 stuff we don't really need to worry about. But the question that people really need to ask themselves in terms of like, okay, what is going to be most effective for symptom resolution or the optimization of the areas of physiology that you most want to optimize with testosterone and cream in this case, like erection quality and libido and strength and energy. And how do the androgen receptors or like the specifics of hormone conversion on the application area matter for the best outcomes? And as usual, when it comes to applying testosterone cream, the one variable that you've got to watch out for, that if you apply it in the wrong place for your particular body is going to get you suboptimal results, specifically in terms of sexual function, is again, estradiol. Let's talk about testicular application. So testicular application is mainstay for testosterone cream. You rub it on the testicles, and the whole notion is you're going to get higher levels of DHT, which is true. I've proven this. Many people on the web have proven this. My DHT was double the top of the reference range just using testosterone cream. It was a modest dose of, I think, 4 pumps or so. However, as we all know, DHT is pretty antagonistic to estradiol to some extent as an aromatase inhibitor, not really significantly, more so as a genetic receptor or genetic expression blocker of estrogen. DHT prevents the estradiol-induced prolactin release, so we know that it has some strong interplay at the receptor side, but it's really the genetic side. It's like it terminates that genetic expression factor that takes place after estrogen binds to receptors. And with testicular application of testosterone cream, assuming you've got enough 5-alpha reductase 2 in pubic skin, you're going to get more DHT than if you were to rub it on the shoulders or if you were to rub it basically anywhere else. And that seems good because DHT is good. However, if testicle application is not yielding you as a result of converting a lot to DHT and obviously some to testosterone right away, but then a good degree to DHT, if it's not yielding you enough estradiol, well, then ultimately you're going to have a hard time dialing in your dose of testosterone, and you might have to take less of it, sort of make it so that DHT doesn't overpower estrogen. And if your estrogen sweet spot is like 45 picograms per milliliter to 55 picograms per milliliter, or 35 to 55 picograms per milliliter, but rubbing 4 pumps of cream on the testicles only gets you 25 picograms per milliliter, as I've seen it be the case with clients of mine, like estrogen didn't go above 25 in some of these guys. Well, then in this particular case, and many other cases like it that I've seen, testicular application of testosterone cream is not optimal for them. Everybody knows, and if you don't know, like if your estrogen is too high, you'll have libido loss and accordion dick. And if your estrogen is too low, you'll have even a bigger libido loss, and like basically your penis will be functional only for the purposes of urinating. That needs to be in the right range. It is the control center for the rest of your experience, at least sexually, on TRT. Estrogen. So let's shift gears to shoulder application, and where for me personally, shoulder application is just better than testicular application, but specifically in terms of ARs. Everybody knows, and the medical journals would prove this, that you have a high concentration of androgen receptors in the shoulders. So rubbing testosterone cream directly on the shoulders, gets you more of an absorbable state of that testosterone because you've got ARs right there, right? So you start translocating, which is when the AR itself moves from the cytoplasm to the nucleus of the cell, which is like the deeper down process by which the AR forms a dimer and you get an activation of androgen responsive genes. That process happens likely faster. This is my position at this point. If you're rubbing testosterone cream on the shoulders versus rubbing testosterone cream in still an AR-rich area, but mostly a 5-alpha reductase 2 rich area, which would be the testicles. So ultimately, you're probably going to get better absorption of that testosterone rubbing it on the shoulders versus the testicles. Now, I don't know if this outcome is as a result of that, but you're going to find anecdotally, and I found in my client work as well as in me personally, that if you rub testosterone cream on the shoulders, you actually end up with more rounder shoulders. I mean, you have to be working out to have round shoulders, but your shoulders ultimately look bigger when you're rubbing testosterone cream on them versus the cream on the testicles. Is that as a result of more ARs in the shoulders and better absorption and more androgen receptor translocation? I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that question, but it's possible, right? It's not like it's some implausible theory. But let's talk about the results. So for me personally, I can dose cream on the testicles, and as long as my estradiol is in range, like in my range for that dose, which changes or somewhat of a moving target based on the dose of testosterone up until a certain point where it's just too fucking high regardless, and everything can be fine. But it's easier for me, and I'm more anabolic, and the sexual system works better just as a result of not really needing to budge estrogen all that much when I'm using cream on the shoulders. And that is because, cream on the shoulders, you have less 5-alpha reductase in that skin. You still have some, but you're getting more of a conversion to estradiol, and that balances out the estrogen DHT dynamic better than, in some cases for some people, rubbing cream on the testicles. Because for me personally, it ultimately means slightly higher estrogen, nothing catastrophic, nothing like 20 picograms per milliliter higher than rubbing it on the testicles, but maybe 7 picograms per milliliter or 9 picograms per milliliter, right? Easier to put me in my range, which at higher doses of testosterone, which I'm running right now, basically a cream cycle, my estrogen needs to sit higher. It just needs to sit higher. I don't really have adequate sexual function at higher doses. I tested estradiol at 23. Okay, I've proven that. I've got labs at estradiol at 23 on the cycle of anything I was running after I took a lot of aromasin, and yeah, libido took a hit, erections took a hit. Even though on high doses of testosterone cream rubbed on the shoulders, I still have to manage estradiol. Like, it's got to go down just a little bit. It's very, very minute changes. Man, I'm talking about 6.25 milligrams aromasin once every 7 days type of thing. Not a whole lot. So it's like one of the easiest things. Whereas with cream on the testicles, again, I can dial that in as well, but I'm usually having to try to push estrogen up, okay, rather than taking it down. And that is harder to do. I mean, you can only dose so much HCG and it doesn't really move the needle all that much significantly. What are you going to do? Fucking rub estradiol cream on your on your forearms and be walking around with like bioavailable estradiol that you just put on your body? I mean, not super ideal. I noticed that testosterone cream applied to the shoulder versus testosterone cream in the same dose applied to the testicles, I'm more anabolic. I'm more anabolic that way. Again, whether this has to do with the ARs in the shoulder or some other mechanism, possibly just better absorption of the testosterone, I just found that I'm a little more anabolic when I rub the cream on my shoulders. So considering that, like, the primary thing, like the most important thing when using androgens or TRT for replacement to get dialed in, specifically as it relates to erections and libido, is where estrogen goes, right? Too high, you got problems. Too low, you got problems. In that sweet spot, everything works. So, but applying cream to the testicles and you've got a lot of DHT conversion, that just might offset, you know, your test estrogen DHT dynamic in a way which is unfavorable for you in terms specifically of sexual function on TRT. So although, okay, the common prescription or suggestion is to put the testosterone cream on the testicles, if you're one of those people that's using cream and not having results or not having, excuse me, good enough results, or that you've got to modify your protocol very significantly in order to get results, you might want to just buck the trend. Consider what I've discussed here in this video and try for a month rubbing the testosterone cream on the shoulders. In the end, like, all TRT modalities require a little bit of nuance to dial in. It's not just necessarily that you can inject whatever or apply whatever cream and then you can ride off in the sunset and everything is great. It might take for you to be a little meticulous about what's happening and think about these things like the 5-AR on pubic skin versus the androgen receptor content in the shoulders and the estrogen testosterone DHT ratio and how that might matter to you. Or you don't want to think about any of that stuff, and that's why you watch this channel. All right, boys, as I said, the source list is finally here, okay? It is a full, vetted, broken down list of trusted sources for anabolics, ancillaries, and hormone hacking agents. Everything you can think of, from DHT gel to oral DHT to every testosterone ester out there. I put together the most popular options, the most popular products for each vendor. These are vendors that I personally have used. I've personally used their prop, personally used their anethate, personally used their tadalafil, their aromasin, their proviron, their DHT gel, their oral DHT. And in the list, I also provide a source for 50 additional sources, okay, to go and read reviews about additional sources for anabolic agents. All right, so the source list is officially live. You can go get it at livecortex.com. You'll have access to all this stuff on the screen. You'll literally download it in under a minute after purchase. You have instant access to the source list. And again, trusted vendors, high quality anabolics, the best list for oral and injectable anabolic agents, and a very fast turnaround time. I pick people that have good shipping times. So go get source list, guys, right now, literally live, livecortex.com. All right, brother. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you. Please like the video, sub to the channel. These things make a huge difference to our back-end metrics and how much YouTube shows our content out to other people, which of course we want and you guys want as well. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you're having a great week. Much more content coming soon. Live stream this Saturday, 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern time, depending. I will put the YouTube thumbnail and the actual live stream up prior so you can get notified of when we're going live. I hope that you have a smashing rest of your day, and I'll talk to you boys on the next one.